And welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. As many of you know, ESCAP launched its first ever innovation roadmap towards the end of last year. So in many ways, we're still in the early days of our innovation journey. In fact, it's probably fair to say that many in our institution are still asking some real searching questions. What does innovation look like in ESCAP? What is the actual endpoint of this innovation roadmap? In some ways, I think they're right to be confused, as there is no endpoint to our roadmap. We in fact hope that our roadmap spurs hundreds of other roadmaps, leading us to new things, new ideas, or new ways of doing our work, and ultimately to enabling us to stay relevant as the world changes around us. And probably never in our lifetimes has the world changed so much and so abruptly as it is today. The COVID pandemic is undermining years of hard-fought development gains in our region. But hopefully it's also opening up opportunities to building back better in ways that maybe were unimaginable or certainly unwelcome just a few weeks ago. Now, while innovation is not magic, it does require ingredients that are not always easy to conjure up in an institution like ours, like time, for example, resources, an appetite for risk, for failure, an appetite for innovation itself, and so on. And that's why sometimes we need to look to the outside to inspire us. And for this first SpaceX inspirational talk, we are lucky to have Djoann Fold joining us to share his story of innovation and maybe some of his magic ingredients. Now, the SpaceX training program offers the space and some of the tools for our staff, for ESCAP staff, to learn about and apply innovation to real-life projects, to their daily work. But success very much depends on each and every one of us then making use of what the program offers and integrating innovative thinking into what we hope will be the next generation of ESCAP offerings. Now, innovation in the context of the world today must be about more than doing slightly better. It goes really to the core of the work of the United Nations and our duty of care for the people that we serve. And never more than now has this been brought into sharper focus. But in this process, I want to guarantee to all of the colleagues and staff joining us that you have the full support of ESCAP's management. We're very eager to see the results of the work, especially through our knowledge and knowledge products. So we very much welcome creative thinking, we very much welcome experimentation, and we hope that you'll find SpaceX the safe space to experiment with new approaches and to take our work really to unimaginable new heights. I thank you all for joining us, and I thank you, and I thank the team for putting this offering us a SpaceX inspirational talk. Back to you, Kavita.
Without innovation, there is no way we can overcome the challenges of our time.
Innovation starts with people.
Creating the space to think, fail, try, and try again.
A safe environment where collaboration can bear fruit.
I'm excited to see bold and revolutionary innovations.
I'm most excited about is digital finance.
Innovation in rural communities.
Data innovations.
Technology to draw insights from public data.
We are introducing artificial intelligence,
blockchain technology, biometrics,
and many other amazing technologies.
Innovation is not only about creating new things.
Not only about technology.
It's about doing things differently.
Technical and management innovation are critical.
We experiment new working methods
for a just and human-centered future.
Innovation today has the power to help or harm.
We need bold and innovative solutions
while respecting the planet's limits.
We test and share innovative responses to challenges. To strengthen coordination and coherence.
Invite others to follow.
To find new ways to engage young people.
To strike smart partnerships. Inculcate a culture of innovation
in our governing body.
I'm passionate about innovation.
Innovation is a part of journey
for accelerated implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals.
And hopefully you guys can all hear me now. Now it is our pleasure to welcome Djoann Fall, our guest speaker for today. Forbes 30 Under 30 entrepreneur, Djoann Fall, is the founding CEO of GetLinks, an online job platform based in Thailand that's driving social change using tech. Labeled the Millennial CEO, declaring war on work, this young CEO earned the spot on Forbes 30 Under 30 at the age of 26, and earning the company funding from Alibaba, JobsDB's parent company Seek, New World Group, and 500 startups. He is also the author of Adaptive Economy. So please put your virtual hands together and welcome Djoann Fall.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here and hope this talk will be interesting and inspiring for all of you. During the time I'm speaking, don't hesitate to ask some questions, and I will be covering them during the Q&A. Okay. Great. So I've been asked by Vivian a couple of weeks ago if I was interested to share what we've been doing with GetLinks, and I don't feel it's something very exceptional, but maybe you will think otherwise. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen now and show you a small presentation of my journey as an innovator, starting from where I grew up and what are the events that turned me to think innovation and turned me to adapt through use technology skills to build my company and beyond that. You will see. So if everyone is ready, I'm gonna start now and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I will start with introducing myself first. So I'm Djoann Fall. I started to code when I was 14. I used to play a lot of music. You will see that in the presentation. I graduated from Master in Management in Paris from ESCP Europe. I received a couple of awards, Forbes, Statler, etc. I'm the founding CEO of GetLinks, and now I'm taking care of the strategy because we got a little bit bigger now. We have more than 100 people across Singapore, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, and a few others. So I'm taking care of merger, acquisition, and strategic partnership, as well as fundraising for the group. And GetLinks is Asia's largest marketplace for technology talents. And as Kavita mentioned, we are the first startup in Thailand to be funded by Alibaba. So we've been working really hard to do that. I will get into the presentation as well. And recently I've been publishing my first book, which is called The Adaptive Economy. And I think as it's been mentioned earlier, there's no better time to think how to adapt to our current situation and to what's going to come ahead as well. I think COVID situation was just one of the reshuffling humanity will see during the next decade. I think United Nations are really aware of this with the global sustainable goals, with the climate change and other public health initiatives. So yeah, I think humanity will need to adapt, and through technology is, I believe, the only way to give equal right and access to people. So that's about my book, and you will see a little bit of this during my talk and maybe be interested about this. And like many others, I'm a human of tech, right? So I like to call myself like that, and many other geeks like me. Okay, so GetLinks is a platform and ecosystem connecting companies to tech talents in South Asia and beyond. We simply enable companies to hire digital talents. We have more than 1 million software engineers, product managers, data scientists, AI engineers, and other tech talents, how we call them. We've been working with most of the product that you probably use every day. Netflix is our customer, Facebook, Google. Maybe in Thailand you use Grab or you use Foodpanda. Lazada, Shopee, all of these are our customers, and we have been helping them to set up their engineering team at first, and then later on to hire their operation people, and yeah, a total we've been placing more than 3,000 people into jobs full time, and we are reaching more than 10,000 connections made through interviews. So yeah, this is basically about GetLinks, and yeah, today we have 1 million users total. So, talking a bit about how I got to become an innovator, because I think that's the goal of this talk, is to share with you my journey and maybe share with you some points and data points or key points that will be inspiring you to become more tech savvy, but to drive social problems and solutions. So I will just go with different phases. There is 7 phases, and I hope each of them will be useful. So before to be an innovator, I was just a normal person, life as usual. So I grew up in south of France when the internet was just coming, and many people didn't have internet. I grew up in a city named Hier. It's really like a fishing village, as you can see in the picture, with my family. So that's pretty much this. And I was just a normal guy at that time, and I'm still a normal guy today, but I was even more normal because I didn't have all these tech savvy things. And later on, I started to, go to school, and my dream was so I've been starting to play a lot. I've been doing a lot of concerts and at the school and at the university. And my dream at the time was literally only to become a musician full time, have my band, we got the chance to do some road trip in Europe and make some money from it. So I was completely ready to give up my school and education to fulfill this dream. And I think in many of us innovators, we don't really aim to be innovators, right? It's a process, it's a journey, and you can see how different is my career path now compared to what I was expecting at 18 years old, right? This picture is when I was 18. So anyone can be an innovator. This is really my point on that slide. But anyone can be an innovator if there is something that happened. It's a realization usually, with something that gonna shake you up. And for me, it was a wake-up call. But many others, if you read the biography of Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, they all had their wake-up call. For me, it was a pretty serious wake-up call because I had a car accident, and I got to be shaken up enough to go to a coma. And when I woke up, I just didn't know where I was, and it was a real wake-up call. And when I woke up, I basically realized that if I were to be dead during that car accident, I wouldn't have left anything behind me aside of maybe 1 or 2 songs, and that's it. And I felt a really big death into a big void into my person, thinking like, wow, if I disappear tomorrow, that will not have changed a dime. Humanity will be going, as usual without me, life as usual. And I felt a big void inside myself, thinking that way. And then I started to think, wait, so at that time I broke my hand, this one, and I couldn't play music either. So I kind of were stuck completely because I couldn't continue my career path as a musician. Because I couldn't play music, I lost the control of my hand for a few years. I couldn't write. I had to learn to write with this hand instead of the other one. So I was forced to reinvent myself. And in the meantime, I was waking up, with this new perspective and thinking, what should I do? Why should I live? And what's my purpose in life? And then I started to really readjust and start to be curious about everything. I spent 2 years reading philosophy, economy, mathematics, neurosciences, really as much as I could, staying in my home, not seeing my friends, and just trying to understand what the hell was going on in the world, and how could I find a place for me in this world to contribute, to build something that will be really creating value for people and really helping people. I've done so much weird stuff that I even contemplated during those 2 years, the integrity of the human history as I could find it on the internet, on Wikipedia, and put that on a chronology, a paper chronology of more than 12 meters in my room. This is a picture I found of this. So I was consolidating every key event that happened in the history in terms of economy and trying to imagine, okay, what could be the future with this understanding. And from there, I started to understand a bit of the direction of where the humanity were going, at least for the next 10 to 20 years. And then I watched that movie. And that movie really make me freak out because of the data points I had about where the humanity were going. I realized that movie was quite really close to the future. And this movie is drawing a picture of what the world could become if we continue in this direction. It's a movie. The movie is called Elysium, and he was pointing out of inequalities that will happen where the majority of the technology will be controlled and the majority of the technology knowledge will be owned by a certain group of people, whereas the other 90% of the people will be not having access to this technology knowledge and will be basically put enslaved to work on really random stupid tasks by those people. And that were happening in a context, of course, of a very polluted planet, climate change events. So basically in this movie, it's really much either you're born rich and you're 1% and you're living in a super cool robot supported spaceship, or either you are on Earth where it's really hot and you live like a dog, basically. And this was really a nightmare to me, to imagine that humanity was going to be like this, where 90% will be marginalized, not because they didn't have the brain to or the hands to, but simply because they didn't know how to make their hands useful to the new world of the 21st century and to the new economy of digital and really high technology. So if you think about this is really much what's could be happening and what is happening right now in a little bit of perspective. I'm placing people into jobs that are between 3 to 15 times higher salary that the average Thais or the average Singaporeans or the average Hong Kongese, simply because they work in technology sector and they know technology skills. They will get 3 to 15 times the average median salary of the country, and that's really not fair. And the more these people develop new technology, the faster the technology is accelerating, the hardest it's going to be for people in the bottom of the pyramid and people in emerging countries to be able to catch up. And simply by their income level, which is resulted by their technology knowledge level, 90% of the global population will be marginalized by their income, because their income will define how much kids they can have, how much healthcare they can have, which is basically how long they can live, and also how much they can move in the global economy. Can they afford to take a plane or not? Right? Can they afford a car? Can they afford to really have the basic human rights? And this is a really big nightmare. that have been really shaking me up at that time. And I was really thinking, okay, maybe this is the problem that I want to face, and maybe this is the big thing that I'm so scared of that I want to dedicate, if not my life, at least the next 10 years. And what am I doing about this as a person? And I think a question is also, what is the United Nations doing about this? And I think there's many answers. There's many programs of how the United Nations is trying to fight this. So this is why I'm really excited to be able to speak here with you guys. So that was my nightmare. And then I went to Paris, and I got the chance to discover some of the people that were giving me answers on how I could contribute. So very simply, I started to give my help to startup entrepreneurs. I started to go to all these hackathons, which are like competitions, a little bit like maybe SpaceX will do, which are basically putting together people to think about creative solution to solve a problem using technology. And they do that within 24 hours. And I got the chance to participate to something called the NASA Space App Challenge, which is happening every year. And I will recommend that to everyone here. So 24 hours. I met that guy and his team who literally didn't have anything. They were growing up in Togo, and they didn't have internet, maybe just like 100 kilobytes, and they didn't have the money to buy a computer really much. But as much as they could, they were trying to learn and access to Wikipedia, and these guys, these African dudes, were actually learning on Wikipedia how to make 3D printers out of recycled computer down to e-waste, basically a trash in Togo. And this was incredibly powerful. These guys, I've met them in the hackathon, and after that I helped them for a couple of months. We did a campaign in Kickstarter, and we got the chance to be selected to go to New York to expose their 3D printer, it was the first 3D printer from the bottom of the pyramid. And when I met these guys, at first I really felt like shit, because I really felt like I had, a really powerful computer, a really powerful internet connection, but I was really using it wrongly, because I could just learn technology and give myself a chance to have more technology skill sets. And these guys who didn't have that, internet connection, they were really spending the time to try to get this internet knowledge. So that's a learning point for me that have been really, really defining how I spend my time, to be trying to be managing my time more consciously, instead of watching YouTube or video games. I was just trying to learn new skill sets. So I learned, 7 different coding languages while I was doing my master degree of management. And I think this is a takeaway for you. You don't need to be going to school if you want to have digital skills that will enable you to become an innovator. You can just learn it by yourself. So that's one learning point. Another encounter I made in this same direction is I got the chance to meet those crazy guys. You can see me here on the picture. These guys were basically a bunch of what we call hacker or cyber hackers. There were people, working with Anonymous. Some of them were Anonymous, actually. Some of them were, just playing with 3D printers. Some of them were hacking drones. Some of them were hacking biology. We call them biohacker. And they teamed up together in a garage, which was an illegal place from an abandoned train station in Paris, which they used to basically meet up and hack. And these guys were so crazy; they were literally aliens to me. So when I meet those type of people, I want to help them. And I was kind of the only guy who knew business because I was doing, master in management. And I was the only guy who knew spreadsheets. And so I tried to help them to get the word out and start to structure what was, to me, really potentially something interesting. And after a couple of I think 1.5 years of supporting them, getting the word out, doing PR, getting them onto the media. We got the chance to get the mayor of Paris to nicely give us a couple of $1 million to open a space, which you can see here. And we have basically, thanks to that grant, opened the first and largest makerspace in Paris. It's called La Paillasse. It's still open. And that's the first NGO I founded. So that was really my first project aside of being a musician after waking up from my coma. So my company, my first project was really an NGO. And I was considered at that time as a social worker. So too many of you think that I'm very different from you. Maybe not, because I have also been in the social work. I've been in this world. I've been, many of my friends, were organizing the COP21 in Paris. So this is where I hope I can even more inspire you to become an innovator, because I'm really not far from you. Actually, we're pretty much on the same plane. It's just about perspectives. Go check this out, La Paillasse. It's an amazing spot. And then this is really where, meeting these people, I realized my skills were not right yet, because I was surrounded with all these nerds, all these geeks, all these hackers, and I was supposed to be the business guy. But at the point where our ambitions were to raise money and be able to scale this makerspace to other locations, I was not at the level yet. I was not able to find a way to create a business model so that this social project could scale. And for this social project, the mission of La Paillasse was super simple: to educate as many people on technology knowledge for free. We will let them come in and have workshops every day about how to learn coding, how to learn to use electronic, how to learn to use 3D printing. So these people could learn to literally build their product right on the spot in this makerspace and potentially turning this into a business. But usually those people were thinking with social angle. So they will use these products for social causes as well. But I realized I wasn't able to scale that thing. And this is where some of my friends called me and proposed me to come in Asia to work for the largest funded e-commerce company at the time, which have raised $420 million US, and it was called Lazada. And when someone called you and say, hey, do you want to work for a company that raised that much money in a country that you don't know but seems cool, they told me it was in Singapore. I was like, okay, why not? And this is where I left La Paillasse to come and work for Lazada. So in Lazada, it's been a great experience to me. I didn't stay there that long because it was really, really fast. And I think I will recommend anyone to, if you want to really be an innovator, I really recommend you to go and learn from the big tech, Google or Lazada or Grab, so you can see the speed at which these companies are going. The speed of execution of these companies is the key reason why they are successful, not really the fact that they are using technology. This is really about the speed and the discipline on how they work, how they set super clear ETA, PICs, roadmaps, KPIs, that is making them deliver incredible results on time. And I've got the chance to learn that and to literally learn in 1 year more than what I've learned in 10 years earlier. So after 6 months, 1 year of learning everything in Lazada, I wanted to be connected with more people who could teach me more things and adapt even more. So I founded this community of people, and I started to organize these networking events for entrepreneurs and technology talents that just wanted to have a beer and discuss about technology, discuss about startup, discuss about innovation. And we started to have really really a lot of people. Within the first time was in my place, we got 20 people. The second time we got 100 people in a bar. The third time we got 300 people at the Hive, and the fourth time we had 800 people in a club. And these people just wanted to come to have a beer with other technology mindset people. So that was really interesting. And at some point, we realized that maybe I could focus on that. So I left Lazada and I founded GetLinks. GetLinks is really still pursuing this mission of not only educating people to technologies knowledge, but also giving them an income, which, by the way, is on average, 3 to 15 times higher than normal. So GetLinks and now we have more than 1 million of these people, and it's been a ride, really. Growing from, this is the first picture of our office, our first office. It's after we left my condo, we had like 9 or 10 people. This is our mobile app that we created initially, and the goal was just to monetize that community of tech talents by helping them getting a job and giving value to them. And so I never imagined I would found the company, really. At the time, I was just organizing valuable events for a niche of people who were tech talents and who wanted to connect one another. And this is only on the way of creating that value, creating those fun events that were, for me, what I really lacked, encountering those cool people in tech, that somehow I ended up building a platform, and that platform ended up being used for recruitment perspective and to help them get digital jobs, right? So once Alibaba invested in us, we started to really scale. Actually, this is some of the picture of the events we organized. This one was in Bangkok in 2016, before Alibaba invested, and we were having 5,000 attendees to one of our conference. This is our team today with several offices and a couple of 100 people. And so far we've raised more than $10 million US. So that's a big number, which even when I look back, I'm thinking this is really big, and I'm thinking, okay, so what's the output, right? What's the output when I compare myself to when I was 10 years ago, dreaming, thinking, just waking up from my coma and thinking, what do I want to achieve in this world, right? So yeah, of course, I got a lot of PR. I am famous now. I've got to meet, the prime minister of most of the countries, South Asia. I've been invited to World Economic Forum to give a speech. I've been in the press. I've been really a lot on the press. But all of that at the end was really about money, right? And when you think of Forbes, we're Forbes 30 and 30, but so what? Does that really change the life of millions of people yet? So far, maybe 3,000 people got a job for $10 million US raised, right? But that's really greedy. And at the end, all this PR, even though we got into the New York Times, it's just noise, right? And I look back, and this is where don't be trapped into this because it's not because you're raising a lot of money with a tech startup that you actually feel good about it. On paper, I'm the king of tech. On paper, you can see me in my Instagram. I'm traveling all around the world. I have plane tickets and I'm on the beach on the weekend. So good. But even me, I'm thinking now, what did I achieve? And I think this is not only me. This is a lot of entrepreneurs in technology who start to think that way. And this is where you probably can join forces with them and with us. So So, when I really think about the real impact, I've got the chance when I was doing my master degree to get in touch with the grassroots innovation people in India, and we're doing a project during my master degree on supporting the bottom of the pyramid with those grassroots innovation, and a very famous one in India is Padman. Of course, you know him very much, right? And when I really think about that guy, which to me is a real hero, I think okay, I'm a young tech entrepreneur that raised $10 million US. But what impact did I make compared to Padman? Okay, I have maybe helped 1,000, 3,000 people get into tech jobs and generate better income that maybe have helped fed their family with better house, better cars, better food, better cell phones. But that guy, he have changed the life of probably 100 million people or more than that, right? So I feel really bad. And this is where I'm coming back now to this social thing, this social space. And I would like to take your hands and invite you to be able to merge the two worlds, because I think there is a big disconnect. The lesson of this disconnect is the following. What the hell, a tech guy can make less impact but make more money than a non-tech guy? Because this is the numbers, right? We got funded 10 million people, and this guy got funded, $10,000 or maybe $100,000 maximum, right? So the lesson is tech gets funding, and today and this century and the next decade ahead, there's no way you will be able, as an innovator, as a social worker, to make impact without leveraging on the tools that are available for you to make impact. And those tools are technology tools. And this is really clearly reflected on how and where investors' money and capital is going. Just because you are doing something tech, you can easily raise a lot of money. But if you're doing something social, you actually don't raise money at all unless you really beg for this subvention from government. That just doesn't make any sense. So the lesson here is, if you want to really innovate in the space, and that's my lesson that I just learned after 5 years of doing GetLinks, is that I should merge both technology and impact together. And I think some of the people who are watching this talk today are in much better position than me on the social impact angle. And I would love to partner with you, by the way, so I can bring my tech angle and my fundraising expertise to help your project to scale. Right, so that's the lesson for today. You need to make tech to fund more impact. You need to make tech if you want to fund your impact. And even better, you can teach tech to BOP to make impact by helping reducing inequality. And this is the solution I have personally found at the end of this innovator journey. Which I don't think is the end, but at least it's the midpoint now, where I'm getting 30 years old soon, in 2 years. So from that's what I've learned. If I want to teach, if I want to support reducing the inequality, I need to do something tech, and I need to teach tech. That's my solution. That's my new place in the world. And this is where my combat is very clear now. My combat is to reduce these inequalities in the world by teaching people technology on an equal level. So the new company I just started, and I put my own money in this company as an investor, as a chairman, is to empower 100 million motivated people, regardless of the background, age, and experience, or financial ability, to survive and thrive during the fourth industrial revolution, which already started 10 years ago and which we are starting to see the consequences right now. In Thailand, 72% of the people who are at school right now will not be able to get a job once they graduate. 72%, simply because there is no digital education that is qualified enough to enable them to get into the career path that will be existing next coming years. And I'm not talking about 10 years from now, I'm talking about today. And that's what is justifying the discrepancy of salaries between the tech people and the non-tech people. And this is in Thailand, where it's quite stable with a middle-class country. But think of, other bottom of the pyramid countries. So this is the mission of this new company. It's called Adaptivity, and that's under GetLinks in the same group, but specifically taking care of digital literacy for 100 million people. And that's our goal for 2030. We would love to have the help of United Nations to achieve that, and ideas and support. And this is the video. So maybe, Vivian, if your team want to show a quick video, it's only 1 minute. Perfect. We don't have the sound yet, though.
The world is entering the fourth industrial revolution. Nations, institutions, and companies that will first achieve digital transformation will win this new disruptive stage. How can we survive the next 10 years when technology is developing rapidly, when robots are taking more and more jobs and many careers are disappearing? We need to quickly upgrade the skill set of our people. We need to become adaptive talents. How long will we wait before taking control of your future? At Adaptivity, we understand the need of the market. By tailoring our content hand in hand with the top digital companies, we ensure quality and employability from the get-go. The result is a program that effectively generates ready-to-perform digital talents. Adaptivity aims to bring to the market thousands of 4.0 talents. Our program also focuses on developing soft skills such as public speaking, networking, project management, and effective communications. We aim to enable every talent to access affordable digital literacy to adapt and thrive during the next 10 years. Are you ready to adapt and thrive into the future of work? Then join Adaptivity.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, this is the new thing I'm really excited about. And if you're interested into providing opportunities to the bottom of the pyramid, and actually everyone, because even my friends need to go to this school to learn to be more digital and adapt. Even COVID situation is a great example of how we need to adapt to remote work and this new lifestyle. So I think everyone is concerned, right? And that's the new combat that I have. I will continue to share my screen. I have only 2 or 3 more slides. And then feel free if you have any question about what I'm doing, Adaptivity or others. So Adaptivity is part of this new thing that now I know my combat, I know my nightmare, I know my enemy. Then I can start to raise a cause. I can start to raise a community around this combat. And this is where I've written a book. And the adaptive economy synopsis is very simple. Is with COVID situation, with climate change, with technological disruption, AI, how can you thrive, sorry, pardon my French, how can you thrive and survive the digital age, right? How can you not only survive, but how can you take the opportunities that will be here? And how can you make sense of how to use your own hands to participate to this new economy? How can you adapt to be part of this new world of the 21st century and be part of the adaptive economy? So this is about this book. And yeah, it's a bit about future of work. It's a little bit about, big goals like climate change and others, but mainly it's about technological disruption and the political reshuffling that will happen on the way. So to be just doing a book, everyone can do it. And this is where actually this book is the manifesto of a fund that I'm creating now, alongside with the book, where from the money I've made with GetLinks and from some of my friends, billionaires, money, we are aiming to team up and to create this new fund to support companies that are making impact. And when I talk about impact, I'm talking about Padman impact, while also using technology. And we'll be supporting those companies, partially in the area of climate change and technological access for everyone. So we call them biosphere conscious. And we'll support them through investment, network of clients, but also human capital, as we have that with GetLinks. So yeah, this is pretty much my journey. And for the recap, I think the lesson really will be the phase one. Anyone can be an innovator, and it's not because you don't know how to code that you cannot just start to code. That's number one. And number two, it's you need to shake up yourself to be innovator, because you cannot just spend life innovating. Innovator, I think, is coming from a nightmare, right? And to have nightmare, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You want it or not. Sometimes it's gonna be you didn't expect it, but it's just hit you in the face, like my car accident. But sometimes you can actually provoke it by meeting other type of people that are very different, out of your comfort zone. And these people will inspire you to realize the problems that are really worth solving and spending time and investment on in our humanity. Number three, it's really how do you then support these people to understand their problem even better. And sometimes it's going to be about working for free for these people, just like I've done for the NGO and others, because that time they just didn't have money, but that's okay. Because I've learned so much, and that's helped me to figure out what I need to do in my life to find my place in the world. Number four is at the end, you need to go and learn from the big guys. So I really recommend anyone who wants to innovate in the social space with technology to go work for the big guys, right? The big tech company, Line, Grab, Foodpanda in Thailand, they're not really far, and they will welcome you if you ask to interview them, for example. Number five, it's you need to create a community, right? You need to create a community around you, because if you're alone, you're no one, and if you are with the community, then you're still no one, but together you are something, right? And this community will make you feel and stay humble, because you realize that the only thing you have is that community, but together you can really move mountains, right? And this is mountains potentially of people, but also mountains of cash if you know how to monetize that community, just like we've done with GetLinks. Number six is if you want to do impact, you need to leverage on technology because technology will help you get funding. And number seven, it's anyone can do that, and this is really not easy. So you need to be ready. If you want to take that journey, you should really ally yourself with people from other perspectives. So for me, again, I'm the tech guy. I'm looking to meet more of social entrepreneurs. So feel free to reach me out, and maybe we can do something together. You've seen everything I have on the plate now. So yeah, looking forward to have more questions and support this new positive SpaceX entrepreneurship program, as well as work more with the United Nations on achieving their goals. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Djoann, and that definitely was a very interesting talk. So I think we've got a couple of questions, if you don't mind taking them up from our viewers. So are you ready for these tough questions, Djoann?
Sure.
All right, so you mentioned a lot about bringing the UN in the picture and joining forces with the tech community. What do you think the role of the UN actually is? Like, how can the UN bridge this innovation gap?
Okay. Who is the question from? Can I know the name of the person?
Well, if you could answer a little bit, and then I'll get our colleagues to maybe check
okay,
the feed.
Sure. I think it's simple. I can see that where there is a problem, there is money, right? Because people want to pay to solve that problem, and I think entrepreneurship during the last decade have been done a little bit wrongly. When you see the valuation of technology companies, like WeWork, for example, just because they were doing co-working space doesn't make any sense. With $40 billion, you can solve humanity water crisis and climate change together for the next 1,000 years, probably, right? So it just doesn't make sense. Where it's just all about how these technology entrepreneurs are able to make hype, whereas social entrepreneurs are not able to, right? Otherwise, they will raise more money or they will attract capitalists a little bit more. And I think the mission of United Nations is really to support those social entrepreneurs toward the goals that the United Nations is setting for the humanity, and to get this movement of people to try to achieve these goals, which I think is really amazing. But I think the goal of United Nations is really to connect those social innovators with those technologists, so they can finally achieve the purpose and reach the goals of the United Nations. Reducing the impact of carbon by 2050 wouldn't be possible without technology solution, for example, right? And the inequality will not be able to be stopped or reduced unless there is a serious woman empowerment in education, right? And partially into technology education globally, right? So these are just two very simple examples where I think the UN mission now should be really to connect social innovators with technology innovators. And I think today's call is illustrating the effort exactly on the right way. So I think I would like to give a clap to all your team because it's really what you should be doing, and I think you're doing a pretty good job. So yeah, good job.
All right, thanks so much, Djoann. The next question is from someone who's using the username Mind Area. So how do you inspire your team to continuously be curious and continue innovating?
This is a big question, which honestly I haven't answered myself. How do I keep myself motivated as well is a good question, right? Because I had this nightmare a couple of years ago already, right? I think for the team, as soon as you start to make money, there is less passion, right? Because then the new passion is, oh, how much sales do we have this month, right? But if you're able to create a business that is making money and also having very high purpose, like supporting underprivileged community like Zappos, for example, this company is very famous to have really high purpose and also making money. Then you can encourage your team members to maybe work more or more passionately, and I think that really makes the difference. This is those high purpose things. For us, unfortunately, with Getlings, honestly, we haven't been able to maybe motivate as much as we wanted our people, because at the end we do recruitment, right? And some of our staff just see, oh, we're doing recruitment, right? And they don't see the picture, or maybe they're not really excited about that big picture. And that's also fine, because they're still contributing to their level on things that you don't need to have a big picture to be operating it, right? And maybe they will find their fulfillment in other parts of their job, right? So for example, for us, we have people who talk to candidates every day. And what really fulfills them is not the big picture of helping 100 million of people to get digitally literate, but it's just supporting that person that month to change his life through a new job, right? So I think it's really hard, and I think it's high purpose. And even with GetLinks, I don't think we have reached it. So I don't want to give advice unless I feel really confident about it.
All right. So next question is from Christoph Manshoven. What partnerships would be possible to assist ESCAP or UN staff to also upskill and learn new skills, particularly in the area of tech and innovation?
I mean, there's plenty of online courses everywhere, right? You can learn coding, you can learn Java, you can learn Photoshop. Everything is available online. So why I'm so lazy to learn a new tech skill then, right? It's just because I'm not inspired, and because I don't see super clearly how much my investment of 10 hours learning this new skill gonna give me a salary increase, or how this investment of 10 hours in this new digital skill gonna give me connected to a new high purpose. And I think this is the problem why no one is really completing those online courses today, right? 89% of the courses are being give up on after being started on Coursera, for example. And this is where adaptivity, we're trying to not just do tech courses, because there's plenty of them, but connect more these skill sets to actual work and actual companies and projects. In this manner, what we do effectively is called apprenticeship and internship. So we enable anyone to work in a tech company within 3 weeks after they connect with us, if they actually got motivated enough to learn these skills by themselves at home, right? But we provide them with a coach that will help the person to answer questions and guide them through to motivate them. So I think this is really the motivation aspect that we try to provide with adaptivity. And how we can connect with the United Nations, I don't know. It's your boss needs to have a look at the video and tell us if he's interested to do something together. Yeah.
Right. So I have another question from a colleague who I believe is in the statistics department. So this is an interesting question. How do you actually measure the impact of innovation?
So very simply, the simple way I will answer that question to myself is I will think, will I be able to eat last 3 weeks without internet? And I mean, I can show you around me. I'm in my home right now, and I'm in quarantine. I've been forbidden to go out for the past couple of weeks, so I would be probably starved to death unless we had Food Panda and all these e-commerce platform. And I think I was having a call with my grandmom 3 days ago, and she's 95. She's really old. She's done the World War II, and to her, she really said this is incredible. I thought for her it's normal, business as usual. She's done, the starving and World War II. She's used to those type of crises. But actually, no. She said, I just don't understand how everything is still going okay. And she's receiving food every day. And this is through internet platforms. So yeah, I think a simple way to see how technology is impacting us is 100 years ago with the Spanish influenza. 100 million people died, and that's creating many starving famines. So yeah, I think we're still alive. So that's the number of people. I don't know. You can take the population in Bangkok and how many of them are using those online services to be able to eat, right? But that would be an interesting data to figure out. So if United Nations wants to do a report on that, I'm happy to help them, connecting them with Foodpanda and Lazada and other platforms to get those data.
All right, I think we might hold you to that. So since you mentioned, obviously, the COVID-19 crisis that we are going on, I'll just connect that to another question that we received from Mind Area. So after this peak COVID-19 period crisis ends, what do you see as the key innovations which will have impact on our society?
I see a lot, and the chapter 3 of my book is actually mentioning most of the innovation that are coming for the next 10 years. This is inspired from a lot of data from millions of different sources that are planning what innovation is coming every year based on what we call the Gartner cycle, which is a yearly report, forecasting the new innovation coming in the market for every industries. So there is 12 key industry I mentioned in chapter 3 of the book, but of course, with this situation, some industries have been accelerating, and some technology have been accelerated, and some of them I'm really actually scared about, and my nightmare just got even more scary with this COVID situation, because simply if we look at how I think 7 million people lost their job last 2-3 weeks in Thailand, right? If at the work rate of 2017 about the risk of automation per country, I think in Thailand we were around 80, something around between 70 or 80%. I don't remember. 76%, I think, if I recall well, of the workforce of Thailand to be at risk because of automation. And when you see all these 7 million people being dropped just last 3 weeks because of a small virus. Because it's a small virus compared to what could have happened, right? It could have got even worse, right? This is really scary. And no, the question is, will those people come back to their job? And this is the real question about the technology and the penetration of innovation, right? Because if the virus stays and come back maybe once a year, then more likely the companies employing those blue-collar workers will prefer having software and some cheap, cost-effective robots to operate. For example, for the cashiers, right? If you look at 7-Eleven, if you look at all these small shops, this is very easy to replace with a small automatic cashier, right? In France, most of the cashiers are automated already, right? So when you think how much that could impact Thailand workforce after the COVID situation, this is really disastrous. And this is where I'm more scared now of seeing what I predicted in my book happen rather than not seeing it happen. I'd rather not see that happen, honestly, because I think it's happening much faster. And when you look at technology as a whole, I'm not talking just about internet. I'm talking about big data. I'm talking about also the access and our privacy, right? And I think if you look at China and how the Chinese government is looking at using WeChat today to scout who is going where and what action they can do or not, there is serious concern to be made about how this COVID situation going to reduce our privacy in Thailand and other autocracies. But not only that, if you look at how the global economy have been destabilized with this virus, this is really showing us how fragile our global liberalism and economy have been. And so a lot of countries gonna start having reshuffling in terms of the political thinking, right? Thinking how is China managing the crisis compared to the United States, right? And this probably will inspire the rise of autocracies and totalitarianism in some countries, because China have managed the crisis much better than the United States so far. And that will give the power for these countries to deploy technologies like drones and other robots more and more, which I think can be discussed in terms of how this goes with the human rights. So I think United Nations, if it have the chance to exist next 10 years, and I really hope so, the the big fight gonna really be about those human rights. And I think technology gonna make a pivotal point in the success or failure of the role of this organization to the global geopolitics.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Djoann. I think we're just going to wrap up today's session because we're a little bit over time. But that definitely was a very fascinating talk. So thank you so much, Djoann. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities for us to explore between the UN and also tech companies and innovators out there as we begin our innovation journey towards helping to accelerate action on sustainable development. So thank you all for joining today. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Remember, for ESCAP staff, applications are open for the SpaceX program. And if you have any questions, please do contact us on the email you see here on the screen. We also want to continue improving our events under the innovation teams. So if you have a couple of minutes, please reply to our survey. The QR code is here on the screen, and we are also sharing the link on the chat for you to access soon. So thank you so much, and have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. See you soon, everyone. Bye-bye.